Okay, now we're going to work an example where I'm going to give you the midpoint of the segment. I'm going to give you one of the endpoints, and then we're trying to figure out the second endpoint. So it's still a midpoint problem, except I'm not giving you the two endpoints and you're plugging them into the formula to get the midpoint. You're given an endpoint and the midpoint, and then you have to figure out the other endpoint. So let's go plot these points. Find the coordinates of point J if point K is the midpoint of segment JL. So K is at -1, 2. So here's point K. And L is at 3, -5. Okay, so here's L. And then here's K. And so we are trying to figure out the coordinates of point J. So J is going to be somewhere over here because it is the other endpoint. So if K is the midpoint, then however we're going to move from L to K, like that distance that we're going to travel to get from point L to point K, we're going to travel that same distance to get from point K to point J. So if I'm moving up and to the left a certain amount, I'm going to move up and to the left that same amount in order to get to point J. So L is at 3, -5, and K is at -1, 2. So you don't actually have to have graph paper to do this. You can do this with just like a sketch. So I'm going from X is 3 to X is -1. So that means I am going to the left 4 points. So if I'm going to the left 4 spaces, I'm subtracting 4 from my X coordinate to get from L to the midpoint. So that means that to get from K to J, I'm also going to subtract 4 from my X coordinate. I'm going 4 units to the left in order to get from K to endpoint J. So if the X coordinate of point K is -1 and I subtract 4 from it, I'm moving 4 spaces to the left, that's going to put me at -5, an X coordinate of -5. Then I'm going to look at my Y coordinates. I'm going from L is at -5. Its Y value is -5, and K's Y value is +2. I'm going up 7 spaces. To get from -5 to 2, I'm going up 7 spaces. So to get from K to J, I'm also going to go up 7 spaces. So if I'm at +2, I'm going to go up 7 spaces. That will put me at +9. So the coordinates of point J are -5 and 9. And we can go graph this. If I'm going to go from L to K, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units up. Then to get from K to J, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units to the left, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units to get to point J, which we said should be at -5, 9. So that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, -5, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shazam! Here's point J at -5, 9. It is the other endpoint of that segment JL. So here's the segment from J to L. There's K, the midpoint. It looks about halfway in between point J and point L. So if you're ever given the end point and the midpoint, however you're traveling from the end point to the midpoint, you're going to travel that same way to get from the midpoint to the other end point.